Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Jess, and thank you for tuning into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. Unfortunately, we will not be taking phone calls tonight. We're having technical difficulties with our phone system, so hopefully we'll get it worked out tomorrow, and you can give us a call tomorrow. But right now, I want to bring in the losing manager of the celebrity softball game out there, the manager of the Cam Hayward team. Falls tonight. Andrew Fillipponi from The Fan, what happened?
Well, we had a rough first inning. James Harrison was at first. Cam had to play out of position at second. Devin McCourty was at shortstop, and when they don't have Spygate, those Patriots, you know, things are a lot harder for them. And look, we made some miscues in the field, but after that, we only gave up 2 runs the next 5 innings. But it was a little bit too little, too late. Jack Sawyer went deep for us. That was our only big blast, Richie. So the power outage occurred there, much like the phone lines for this show
much
tonight.
Much like the Pirates baseball bats, too.
Correct. We lost by 3 runs. It was a competitive game. You know, after the first inning, my pitching really settled things down, and we didn't give up any more runs other than a Dorn Dickerson home run. So, yeah, I mean, close. You can't win them all. I didn't expect to go undefeated forever in this game, although that would have been cool. So every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut, and that's what happened in this game tonight, Richie. We lost.
So Dorn hit a home run off you. I didn't think he was a softball player.
Dorn is multifaceted. He is a great all-around athlete. And at that point in the game, because we were losing, I was even really breaking an unwritten rule in softball, which is to put unlimited arc on my pitches. And he still took it deep. So I have to tip my cap to him. You know, there was a little bit of chicanery, some things going on that I didn't like on their side in terms of how my hitters were being pitched, but I'm not going to cry over spilled milk here and act like we got screwed and hosed. I'm not going to be a sore loser. But, yeah, it was a fun night, good night. Wish we could have come out on the winning end. You'd think Cam Hayward's softball game, they would, you know, make sure Cam's team in the end got the win like they do with the Harlem Globetrotters. But that was not the case tonight.
All right, last question. Anyone surprise you? Anything cool happen out there today? Anything exciting?
Well, you know, Christian Kuntz is a center, a long snapper, but he impressed me in terms of his all-around athleticism, even though he was on the other team. I'll be respectful and I'll credit the opposition. They did win. I saw Duck Hodges for the first time in a while. He still can get it done. He played center field, did a nice job for them. And we had Jack Sawyer hit a home run, like I said. And Jack Sawyer is a big man. I have looked at rookies, new Steelers in these games, and I've been unimpressed. The first time I saw Kendrick Green, I knew right away the guy was not going to be a good player. I told everybody that. Many people thought it was stupid to draw that conclusion from a softball game. No, you can get an assessment of an athlete in situations like this. I think Sawyer is going to be a stud. I am very excited for him. Obviously, what's going on with T.J. Watt, I'm not saying or insinuating that Sawyer is going to fill his shoes. But I think between Sawyer, Herbig, and Highsmith, you've got the makings of some really good edge rushers. And that might be, not a lot, but that could be factoring in a little bit into the hard ball the Steelers are playing with Watt, because they know they've got really good depth at that position with those 3 guys, Richie.
You know, I think you're making an accurate assessment of Kendrick Green. I think I played in that game. I was playing second base. Green was playing first base, and he missed a pop-up to him.
Yes.
And I was like, what? All right. But he said he played first base in high school. So, anyways, back to Jack.
They must have been a winless team. They must have been a joke. That must have been the worst team in that area.
You know, back to Jack Sawyer and what's going on with this T.J. Watt situation. I know I talked about it at length yesterday on the Showdown and on the Sports Call. I think he's going to be in camp. I don't know if they're going to get a deal done before camp starts. I think they might get something worked out before the first game, but I think it's got to be some kind of like 3-year deal with an out. 5 years is too many for a 31-year-old guy, and it's nice. It's nice to hear your opinion on a guy like Jack Sawyer. I mean, could he be a replacement in the future, you think? I know it's early on, and we haven't seen much from him for T.J. Watt.
I mean, I think that should be the plan. I know he was a day 3 pick, but I thought he was very underrated in the draft. I think he's going to be a phenomenal run defending edge rusher. I had somebody tell me who was not a Steelers scout, but somebody who's worked in the NFL who watched Sawyer before the draft and told me he looks like a Steeler because of how much emphasis they put on those 3-4 linebackers being able to play the run. And he did an outstanding job of that at Ohio State. So this is the way the Steelers used to do things, where they draft the guy, he'd wait, and then eventually he'd take over when the starter got too old or too expensive. And if you think about edge rusher over the years, Jason Gilden gave way to Joey Porter. Joey Porter gave way to James Harrison. James Harrison was supposed to give way to Jarvis Jones and Bud Dupree, but they both stunk. So James Harrison stuck around until TJ Watt was ready to go. So that baton is supposed to get passed from one guy to the next, and I could see that. I honestly could, because I think Sawyer and Herbig, they have skill sets that I think go well with each other. Herbig is a really good rusher, and Sawyer is a guy that can play the run. So Sawyer could play on early downs, and Herbig could play in pass situations, and I think that combination would go quite well at edge rusher for the Steelers moving forward.
All right, Pony, it's the slowest week of the year for sports. The home run derby was tonight, and the highlight was O'Neal Cruz's 513-foot home run. And that goes to our live poll question here tonight. If you just want to scan the QR code in the right-hand corner of the screen, since our phones aren't working, maybe you can get in on this. Does O'Neal Cruz home run derby performance change your opinion on him as a player? He was fantastic in the first round, lost in the second round to Cal Raleigh, who's leading the majors in home runs right now. It doesn't really change my opinion. I would answer no. I don't know about you, though.
Well, look, I'm getting killed by people because I was not a big fan of O'Neal Cruz in this home run derby because of how frustrating and disappointing he's been at times for the Pirates. If you go by OPS, he's been their best hitter in the first half. Well, whip-de-doo. They've got the worst offense in all of Major League Baseball. So to say you're the best hitter on the worst team, that really ain't saying much. And really, I thought Andrew McCutchen, for the most part, was the Pirates' most consistent hitter in the first half of the season, and that's really a shame. No offense to Kutch, but he's 38 years old. And Kutch is still a good hitter. But at this point in his career, he's not supposed to be their best hitter. So O'Neal Cruz, to me, is a guy that clearly still has a lot of holes in his game. He can't hit left-handed pitching to save his life. He strikes out way too much. He doesn't make contact enough. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where he was an 0-for-4 performance away from hitting under 200. So, you know, you're harder on the ones that you have high expectations for when they don't get it done. And that's how I feel about O'Neal Cruz. I get angry and I get upset because I think that there is greatness in there somewhere. We see it from time to time. We saw it in how far he hit the ball in this home run derby tonight. But he doesn't put it together game to game, week to week, month to month enough to be a real all-star. Richie, as long as he's a Pirate, I don't think he'll ever be an actual all-star because he just makes too many mistakes and he's too inconsistent, unfortunately.
All right, with that all being said, you know, a lot of people talk about him being the best player, the best hitter, offensive player maybe on this team, but with the game on the line, I'll tell you what, he wouldn't be my first, second, maybe not even my third choice at the plate, needing a hit with the game on the line. I mean, obviously, I would have either Brian Reynolds, McCutchen ahead of him for sure. What about you?
Well, Reynolds, I think, you know, when we're talking about blame
game on the line, clutch
happened,
moment, you need a run, you need a hit. Who do you want at bat?
Well, I'd probably still say Reynolds, but not by a lot. I mean, Reynolds to me is a big-time bust this year. Okay, he's the highest paid hitter. He's having a career worst year. And so much for, well, wait until we get to June. Well, now it's the middle of July. He's supposed to be a guy that heats up once we get to the summer. It really isn't happening for him. And based on the amount of money he's made, how many years the Pirates have tied in and locked into him, you know, I think he has been a tremendous, tremendous disappointment. He's terrible defensively. He's supposed to be a 275 hitter with 25 to 30 home runs and 80 RBI, and he's not going to come anywhere close to that this year, Richie.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is definitely a down year for him. We got to take a break. Back in a couple minutes. Don't forget to scan the QR code. See you in 2. All right, this is our Xfinity tweet of the night. I don't know where this one came from Nick Camuso. What O'Neill Cruz visualized when that pitch that went 513 feet came in. Big face opponent.
That is great.
That is a great tweet right there.
That is well done, Nick. Congratulations. What was he thinking when he lost by about 15 home runs to Cal Raleigh? He must have forgotten about that image.
I mean, it's a shame. They kind of screwed it up. I mean, O'Neill Cruz should have been in the finals against Cal Raleigh, and it didn't happen that way. But, look, the home run derby, and I know you and I probably did this show last year, and we talked about the same thing. The home run derby isn't like when we were kids. That was one of the more exciting events, like the slam dunk contest. Neither are exciting anymore for me.
Let me just address this whole situation here. I really do not think what I've said about Cruz in the home run derby is the least bit controversial. It is very rare that we see someone in the All-Star game or in an All-Star game event who's having a disappointing or bad year. Now, Mike Williams did that like 20 years ago when the Pirates had no good hitters. He had a ERA in the 5s, and he was the closer they picked for the All-Star game. So it's happened a couple times with the Pirates because, by and large, they've not been a very good team for a long period of time. I just am used to the All-Star game and the home run derby being some kind of reward for what you did in the first half of the season. And no Pirate fan could argue this. O'Neill Cruz was one of the worst hitters on their team for the entire month of June. He was awful. He was absolutely terrible. Tommy Pham has been better than him for like a 25 to 30 game stretch. So, yeah, I'm sorry if it was not easy for me to root for a guy who was batting 200 5 days ago. He's not having a good year. And I don't see how any Pirate fan now, he's leading the league in stolen bases. Great, but you can't steal first base, Richie. You got to get on base. And he's had a really hard time doing that for the last 30 or 40 games.
It stinks that we're in the world of StatCast and analytics, and, he's a StatCast champion. I mean, he has the best exit velocity ever in the history of Major League Baseball when they were keeping score of it. Hits a 513-foot bomb, the longest home run in the Derby. I mean, but when you're talking about a complete baseball player, he's not it. He's a champion. He's a StatCast champion.
Well, and he was a StatCast champion in this event tonight because he hit a ball 513 feet, and he hit most of the longest home runs, and he still lost. Okay, so look, I mean, this is what I mean. The guy, it has prodigious power. He can hit the ball harder, and he can hit the ball farther than just about anybody in the league. There's a reason why Aaron Judge was gawking when he came to PNC Park and he watched this guy hit batting practice. The issue is it doesn't translate into real games enough. And it's not just his fault. I mean, the Pirates have to take some blame for it too. Why is it we watch O'Neill Cruz and everyone is raving like, oh my God, where did this come from? I don't get a chance to watch the Pirates. This guy can hit the ball as far as anybody I've ever seen, and yet you look at his stats and they're not very good. So the Pirates got to take some ownership for that too, Richie, not being able to get that out of him enough in real games.
So do you think he elevated his trade value? I know they're not going to trade him this year,
No,
maybe even next year, but when he puts on a performance like this, other teams might be looking at. You don't think at all?
No way. I mean, do you think any of the guys you talked about in the dunk contest, they go out and dunk the ball more and all of a sudden teams want to trade for him? It's batting practice. They know where the pitches are going, and they get him in their sweet spot. I mean, that's not a transferable talent or something that you can say what he did here is going to give him a better chance in real games. In fact, a lot of people get nervous the opposite is going to happen. Remember Josh Bell, Richie?
Yeah.
He was basically ice cold after the home run derby, the last Pirate who did it. He sold out to try to win the home run derby, and he went into a wicked slump afterwards. Now, I don't know if that was coincidental or if there was a correlation there, but still, like, there's a real myth out there, a real belief out there that sometimes the home run derby is bad for the swing of the hitter going into the second half of the season.
He was the hottest player in baseball going into the All-Star game. I think he led the majors in home runs at that point, and then was awful in the second half. So where do you go from here with O'Neal Cruz? I guess let's just sum it up. Do you try to trade him in a couple years? Do you want to sign him to a deal? Would he take a maybe team-friendly deal? Do you build around this guy?
Well, he can't be the guy. But what I would do is I would with the regime change, okay, we're going to bring in new people at the top. We're going to get rid of Ben Cherington here. Okay, and so let's have a new philosophy, a new organizational outlook. Maybe those people can find something in O'Neal Cruz that unleashes or unlatches something in him and makes him into a more consistent player. I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm not giving up on the guy, and I don't want to trade him right now because they don't have a lot of offense.
Yeah.
But I'm also being honest. I just don't see him as the kind of guy that's going to carry your team.
Yeah, look, when you watch him play, it doesn't even look like he wants to be out there half the time playing center field. All right, we got to take a break. Back with more Sports Call coming up next. Stay right there. All right, now it's time to turn things over to Josh Taylor to find out what's coming up on KDKA News at 11. Josh?
Richie, tonight a former police officer accused of causing the death of a Good Samaritan is headed to trial. Plus, the president is returning to Pittsburgh, and Kristen Emery's tracking a wet week. All ahead at 11. See you then.
All right, thanks a lot, Josh. So Cal Raleigh won the Derby, first catcher to ever win it. Actually, second Mariner player to ever win it. Ken Griffey Jr. won it 3 times, 94, 98, 99. By the way, our poll question is in. Does O'Neal Cruz home run derby performance change your opinion on his as a player? Most of the fans out there, most of the viewers say no, 72%. Are you excited to watch Paul Skeens pitch tomorrow? You getting amped up about it? Maybe seeing him finally get the pitch against Aaron Judge in this game. He didn't get to face him last year.
Absolutely. I'm rooting for an immaculate inning. 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts, 1, 2, 3 from Paul Skeens. Cannot wait.
Is that what you're predicting? Because if it's your prediction, I'm going to go against it.
I just did. Immaculate inning, Paul Skeens.
Thanks a lot, Pony.
Get ready for it.
See you tomorrow. Hopefully we see you on KDKA News in just a couple minutes.